Hello, people. How's it going? Well, looks like we're going to have a thunderstorm pretty soon. We had one last night too. Anyway, this one may not. Well, I'm not sure how long this book thing is going to last. Cause I just briefly discuss the books I bought lately at the library. Yes, that's a subliminal message. Yes, I do need all these books, and I don't want to hear it. Anyway, this one, short stories of Harry Harrison. Unlike the other collection I have, it does have a few of the same ones, but not all of them. I mean, it does have the Streets of Ascalon. I've read this one. I like it. It's very interesting. You know, missionaries from this planet went to another planet and tried to convince people of the gospel and so on and so forth, and about God and so on and so forth, and what they would do to prove that all this is true. It's a pretty good story, actually. I do like the story. It's pretty good. I'm not describing it very well, but that's kind of where it goes. But it is a good story. I do like it. Also in this one is The Roommates, which is the basis for the movie Soylent Green. Soylent Green is people. I know, spoiler. I'm sorry, spoilers. Anything else? Anything else ones? But anyway, those are the stories that are in there. What do they say? Someone would be able to do this without. Those are the stories that are in this one anyway. Well, I mean, I like Harry Harrison. I mostly like the short stories and, of course, the Stainless Steel Rat. I read this one a long time ago, but I have most of the Stainless Steel Rat books. I don't have all of them yet, but I've got most of them. This is the other one I got. I like the Stainless Steel Rat. You can I just think that these are written so well as science fiction. These really did help me get into science fiction more than I probably already was, maybe a little bit more. I mean, I read the Star Wars books, but I wasn't yet into reading science fiction. I probably, as I said, more the modern writers of the time I didn't read a lot of. He was probably one of the beginning catalysts of reading those things. But I do like the Stainless Steel Rat series. There are some interesting stories and some interesting titles out there. And there's Audie Murphy, his book about his war experiences in the African campaign, the Italian campaign into France. He is the highest decorated American soldier in U.S. history. He died young. He died in an airplane crash. He was in his 40s. But yeah, he was, held back. His Audie Murphy's own story, a stirring, incredible personal saga of the bloody advance across Sicily, Italy, France, straight into the guns of Germany's last ever the Siegfried Line. It's also a very good movie with him playing himself. It's a very good film. This is a very good book, by the way. I do have another book on Audie Murphy around here, but I will probably he was born in June, so I'll probably bring it up at that point again. But excellent Benton War book. A Joe War book, Darby's Rangers. I read this 30 odd years ago. I just recently found this in Half Price Bookstore. But this is about from the moment they hit the beaches in North Africa to the last desperate struggle in Anzio. Darby's Rangers only asked for one thing: the opportunity to fight. Experts at amphibious landings, night attacks, and close combat, the Rangers were spearhead for the advancing U.S. forces, and at their helm was William O'Darby. Was it Darby? Oh, Darby O'Gill is another movie. Completely different movie. Sorry. Combat leader, he was killed during the war. So he didn't finish this. He was killed during the war, if I remember correctly. But it's a Joe War book. Excellent book, if I remember correctly. He was played by Robert Wagner in the movie Longest Day. I mean, it's an interesting subject. Okay, as I'm still reading through my J.D. Salinger biography, I'm up to this point where he's written these two stories, which is why I bought it. J.D., I'm not sure you're saying what you think you're saying, and I don't think you're as good as advertised. I think you're interesting as a person, but I'm not really sure that you would consider these classics, or at least as I define classics. But I bought this to find out. This is where I am in his biography. He just got done writing Zoe and Franny and Zoe, two different stories. I know. I started reading it. I'm finding it a little clunky. But I'm going to continue trying to read it, trying to get through it to find out what's so wonderful about this book, about these two stories. As I said, he's more interesting than what he wrote, but other people like this. I'm trying to like it. I am trying to like J.D. Salinger. Well, some of his stuff anyway. It's just taking a lot of effort on my part. And on to now. When my dad, or my father, used to coach Little League, he coached my first Little League team, the Giants, and when we lived in Oakland, Alameda, California. I don't know how I knew who Leo DeRocher was, but I always called him, I always saw him as Leo DeRocher. Maybe a little bit of Casey Stengel, Billy Martin, but anyway. I found this book at Goodwill for $1. Leo DeRocher's book, Nice Guys Finish Last. This is Leo's biography, or autobiography. I haven't seen this book in years, and I mean about 40 odd years. I've never found a copy until now. But he was a baseball player, manager. He was called Leo the Lip for a reason. He is in the Hall of Fame finally. I still think Billy Martin should be in the Hall of Fame, but I don't know. He may never get there, but I do. I remember the night Billy Martin died. That was Christmas Day, wasn't it? In '89, because the next day I was going to head off to New Manhattan with my uncle, my cousin and his lovely pretty wife. There was Uncle Mark, or Uncle Alan, and what was her name? That was a long time ago. Leave me alone. But anyway, I like baseball books. I like baseball. This is a classic. It always has been a classic. He was a personality. He was the opposite of Casey Stengel. In a lot of ways, he was a lot like Billy Martin. Maybe, he was a lot like Billy Martin, but maybe a little worse. But he is in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But anyway, as today is the liberation of Rome in 1944, during the Second World War. I found this book a few weeks ago. But the battle for Rome, the Germans, the Allies, the partisans, and the Pope. September 1943, June 1944. In the days leading up to the Italian, I can't talk. Slow down now. In the days leading up to the Italian surrender, the government had deposed Mussolini. That may have been the worst line reading I've ever heard in my life. Slow down. In the days leading up to Italy's surrender, the government that had deposed Mussolini had declared Rome an open city. Yeah. You keep telling yourself it wasn't an open city. And demilitarized it, thus hoping by this measure to preserve its countless wonders from the ruins of war. Reaffirmed not by the respected but by the German occupiers or the Allies, this open city proclamation would, from the outset, be a sham. Rome would be a city of spies, double agents, informers, torturers, fugitives, hunted Jews, and hungry people. The open city was thus a tinderbox of four conflicting parties, each incompatible with the other. The Allies trying to capture Rome as their first shining prize of war, while discovering impregnable opposition instead. The Germans trying to throw the intruders back into the sea, holding Rome hostage and using it rapaciously. Never mind. As a staging ground. Some words I can't talk. I'm sorry, I can't. Some words I can't say. I'm going to try. As a staging ground and supply line from the front, the Pope trying to bring the West and the Germans to terms to save the world from communism and to save Rome and the Vatican City from physical destruction, and finally the partisans trying to redeem Italy's honor by making Rome unattainable for the occupiers. In other words, it wasn't an open city. They were all fighting each other to maintain who would take it and who wouldn't take it. Eventually, Mark Clark, and I believe without orders, marched into Rome. I do have a biography of Mark Clark on the other side of this thing here. I should have brought that over. Well, I could, I guess. All right. Should have brought this over here before I started. But yeah, he wasn't exactly he might have been a good general, but as a person, he was a well. Let's just say he made Patton look good. Sometimes he made Patton look good. That's saying a lot. This book. This one is just a book on a simple little introduction of World War II. You'll find this book at Century College. This is the book they use for when they do the Civil War, World War II history class, which I never got to take. I wish I had. I took a lot of other classes there, history classes. Well, this is just basically a nice little synopsis book of the Second World War and all kinds of other cool stuff. But it was only $2, so I got it. Anyway, now this one, I'm going to do a separate video on this subject, but I want to share that I got it. I do like Doctor Who. I don't like the present one, and I don't like the last one, because they weren't the Doctor. Capaldi was the last Doctor in my world. He will always be the last Doctor in my world, and I don't want to hear anything about it. But I will do a separate video on Doctor Who and a few other opinions I have. But this book is pretty cool. This is literally the history of Doctor Who until the second season, I believe, of Matt Smith. Well, it was the first 50 years. So anyway, but anyway, well, those are the kind of the books. Those are the books I got. Except for the Mark Clark book. Yeah, I mean, my library is outpacing the room I have. Believe me, this room is small. You know how small this room is and how many books are in it. You kind of wonder why it hasn't collapsed on me and killed me. Because one would think it would. But I do love books. But anyway. But yeah, I mean, okay. Anyway, as an interest in those kind of books, share with somebody, let them know about them. Like, share, comment. Well, people, behave yourselves, but you know I'm not going to. I wouldn't know how if I knew. Well, looks like it might not rain. Maybe it's hard to tell. One minute the sky is dark, and now we have blue sky. Anyway, later.